The night sky over the alien city glowed with strange blue lights. Tall towers reached toward the clouds, shining with crystal windows. It was supposed to be a day of peace. Humans and aliens had gathered to celebrate a new friendship between worlds. But peace ended in one heartbeat. The first explosion came without warning. A deep boom shook the ground so hard that people fell where they stood. Bright fire burst into the sky, and the sound was so loud that even the alien birds flew away in panic. Screams filled the streets. Smoke spread like a black blanket over the city. Sirens wailed from every direction. Among the chaos was a young human soldier. He had come with the Earth team for security, but now his rifle felt useless against the unseen enemy. He scanned the streets, his eyes sharp, his heart beating like a drum. That was when he saw her. A small alien girl, maybe 8 years old, stood alone near the edge of a broken bridge. Her skin shimmered faintly under the city lights, her silver eyes wide with fear. People ran past her, but she didn't move. The soldier shouted, "Hey, get away from there." She couldn't understand his words. Her world had turned to fire and thunder. She just hugged herself and stared at the wreckage around her. Then he saw it near her feet, a strange round device, blinking with red lights. The soldier's stomach sank. He had seen bombs before. This one was seconds from going off. He didn't think. There was no time to think. He ran. The ground cracked beneath his boots as he sprinted toward her. He could hear the faint whine of the device charging up for the blast. Every muscle in his body screamed for speed. "Run!" he shouted again, waving his arms. But the girl was frozen in fear, like a statue in the middle of hell. The red lights on the device flashed faster. He pushed harder, legs burning. Each step felt like it might be his last. He could smell burning metal, hear people crying, feel the heat of nearby fires. 10 steps away. 5 steps. He leapt forward as the bomb exploded. The world vanished in a flash of white fire. The blast hit him like a speeding truck. It tore through the street, lifting dust, metal, and broken glass into the air. Pieces of shrapnel spun in every direction like knives thrown by 100 hands. But the soldier didn't stop. He grabbed the alien girl and covered her with his body. His back took the storm of metal and fire. Pain shot through him as his armor cracked, hot steel slicing into his arms and shoulders. He gritted his teeth. He didn't let go. The explosion roared for what felt like forever, then slowly faded into ringing silence. Smoke curled around them. Pieces of burning debris rained from the sky. The alien girl was shaking in his arms, but she was alive. The soldier tried to move, but his body felt heavy. He coughed, tasting blood in his mouth. His vision swam like water on glass. Voices shouted in the distance. Shapes moved through the smoke, tall figures with glowing armor. Alien guards? Rescuers? He couldn't tell. One of them reached for the girl, pulling her from his arms. She cried out, reaching back toward him, but they carried her away quickly. He tried to speak. No sound came out. His knees gave way. He sank to the ground, staring up at the sky that was now full of smoke and fire. Through the haze, he thought he saw something strange above the city. Bright lights forming a circle, moving in perfect silence. Not ships he knew, not anything human. He blinked hard, but the lights stayed there, watching, waiting. The last thing he felt was the ground shaking again, as if something far bigger than a bomb was coming. Then the darkness took him. When he opened his eyes again, everything would be different. Darkness. That was the first thing the soldier felt. Deep, endless darkness pressing against him like heavy water. He floated in it, his body numb, his mind drifting between dreams and pain. Then voices. Faint, strange voices. Not English. Not any language he knew. He forced his eyes open. Blinding white light stabbed his vision. He groaned softly. His head throbbed like a drum, and for a moment he thought he was dead. But slowly, shapes began to form above him. Tall figures with glowing blue eyes, faces hidden behind smooth masks. Where was he? He blinked until the blur faded. He was lying on a silver bed inside a room unlike anything he had ever seen. The walls curved like the inside of a giant egg, glowing faintly with soft blue light. Strange symbols floated in the air above him, disappearing and reappearing like ghosts. His heart pounded. He wasn't in any hospital he knew. This wasn't Earth. Then he saw her, the alien girl. She stood near the corner of the room, her silver eyes red from crying. She wore a long robe now, clean and bright, so different from the dusty, terrified child he had saved. When she saw him awake, she took a small step forward, like she wanted to speak but didn't know how. Before he could say anything, one of the tall, masked figures moved closer. The figure placed a hand over his chest, and a warm light spread through his body. Pain faded instantly. He gasped in shock, sitting up halfway. His wounds were gone. The burns, the cuts, everything had healed as if the explosion had never touched him. What is this?" he whispered, his voice shaking. The masked figure said something in the alien language. The words were smooth, musical, but he couldn't understand a single one. The girl stepped closer then. Her voice was soft but clear. "They saved you," she said slowly, as if choosing each word carefully. "You safe now." He stared at her. She spoke his language, not perfectly but enough to make sense. Where am I?" he asked, his voice rough. She glanced at the masked figures, then back at him. "Palace Healer's Place," she said, struggling with the words. "High Council. They want you. High Council? Palace?" His mind spun. The last thing he remembered was fire, screaming, the blast tearing through the street. Now he was here, healed, surrounded by strange beings in a place that looked like it belonged in a dream. Before he could ask more, the door slid open with a soft hiss. He froze. 2 alien guards entered, wearing silver armor that glowed faintly along the edges. Their helmets looked like the faces of hawks, sharp and cold. Each carried a long spear-like weapon that hummed with blue energy. One of them pointed at him and spoke in a firm, commanding tone. The girl translated, her voice trembling slightly. "They want you to come. Council waits." The soldier looked at his arms, at the places where metal had torn through his flesh not long ago. Now his skin was smooth, not even a scar. He didn't know whether to feel grateful or afraid. "Why?" he asked quietly. "Why do they want me?" The girl hesitated. "You save royal blood," she said finally, her eyes dropping to the floor. "Me? Royal blood?" He blinked, confused. Before he could speak, the guards moved closer. Not threatening, but firm. It was clear he didn't have a choice. He swung his legs off the bed. His boots were gone, replaced by soft alien shoes. His rifle, his gear, everything had been taken. The girl gave him a small, nervous look, then walked beside him as the guards led them out. The hallway outside was silent, glowing faintly like the inside of a starship. Strange symbols floated along the walls, moving like living ink. Other aliens stopped to stare as they passed. Their eyes followed him, whispering words he didn't understand. The soldier kept his jaw tight. His training told him to stay calm, read the situation, find the exits. But deep inside, unease curled like a cold hand around his heart. Why was everyone looking at him like that? The hallway ended at a massive door carved with glowing lines. 2 more guards waited there. The door pulsed softly, like it was alive. The girl touched his arm lightly. "Inside, Council," she whispered. The door began to open with a deep, echoing sound. The soldier felt the air change. The light beyond the door was brighter, heavier somehow, like stepping into the heart of a storm. He didn't know it yet, but what waited inside would change everything he thought he knew about this world, and about himself. The soldier stepped through the massive door, his heart beating hard inside his chest. The room beyond was huge. It curved high above like the inside of a giant dome. The walls were made of smooth, glowing stone, marked with golden symbols that shimmered like fireflies. Tall crystal pillars rose toward the ceiling, casting blue light over everything. In the center was a round platform, and on that platform sat the council. 12 alien figures, each wearing robes that shone like liquid silver, watched him with cold, unreadable eyes. Their faces were different, some thin and sharp, others broad with ridges across their heads, but all looked powerful. Their thrones floated a few feet above the floor, glowing softly as if alive. The soldier stopped just inside the doorway. He felt small under their gaze. Beside him, the alien girl stayed close. Her silver eyes flicked nervously between the council and the soldier, like she knew this moment was dangerous. The guard stepped back, leaving him standing alone under the bright lights. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then the tallest figure leaned forward. Its voice echoed through the hall, smooth and deep, speaking words the soldier couldn't understand. The girl whispered softly, translating, "They ask who you are." The soldier swallowed. His throat felt dry. "Tell them I'm from Earth," he said slowly. "I came here with the peace team." She repeated his words in her own language. The council murmured among themselves. Their voices were low, like wind blowing through metal pipes. Another counselor spoke, this one with golden eyes that glowed faintly. The girl translated again. "They say, you saved royal blood," she said, her voice trembling. "You save princess life." The soldier blinked. He turned to look at the girl. "Princess?" She lowered her eyes. It was true. The council spoke again, longer this time, the words sharp and fast. The girl hesitated before translating. "They want to know why you do this. Why save her? You risk your life. For what?" The soldier stood silent for a moment. He didn't have a good answer. He hadn't thought. He had just acted. "Because it was right," he said finally. "Because she's just a child." The girl repeated his words. The council chamber went quiet again. One of the counselors leaned back slowly. Another spoke in a low tone. Then another, louder, the words sounding almost angry. The girl's face grew pale. "What are they saying?" the soldier asked softly. She swallowed hard. "They argue," she said. "Some say you are hero. Others say maybe spy." The soldier's jaw tightened. "Spy?" He took a step forward. "Tell them I had nothing to do with the attack," he said firmly. "I was there to protect, not destroy." She spoke his words quickly. The council's voices rose again. Some sounded doubtful, some angry. A few seemed to agree with him. Finally, the tallest counselor raised one long, thin hand. Silence fell instantly. The golden-eyed one spoke once more, slowly this time. The girl's face changed as she listened. Then she turned to him. "They say the attack was not random," she whispered. "Someone wanted the princess dead. Someone powerful." The soldier felt a chill run through him. "They think maybe humans?" she added softly, almost like she didn't want to say it. His eyes widened. "Humans? No, that's a lie." But deep inside, a cold thought slid into his mind. The bomb he saw, the metal pieces had looked strangely familiar. Earth-made familiar. Before he could speak again, a sudden sound cut through the hall. A sharp, metallic echo. The giant door slammed open. A guard stumbled in, armor scorched, breathing hard. He shouted something in the alien language, his voice filled with panic. The council rose from their floating thrones at once. The girl turned to the soldier, her face pale. "Attackers," she whispered. "They come again." The soldier's muscles tensed. Through the open doorway, he saw shadows moving in the hall beyond. Dark shapes, weapons glowing red. The council chamber exploded into chaos. Guards rushed to form a wall around the council. The princess was grabbed by two armored soldiers who tried to pull her toward safety. The soldier looked at the attackers pouring through the hall. And then he froze, because the weapons in their hands carried markings in English. Human markings. The council chamber shook with noise. Guards shouted orders in the alien language. The princess was pushed behind a wall of armored soldiers. The counselors floated back on their thrones, their glowing eyes sharp with fear and anger. The attackers moved fast. Shadows rushed through the wide doorway, their red weapons glowing like fire. The soldier's eyes locked on the strange guns, and his heart went cold. Those were human weapons. He had seen them before, back on Earth. But how? Why would humans attack a peace meeting on an alien world? The soldier didn't have time to think. A blast hit the floor near him, throwing sparks and smoke into the air. He grabbed a fallen guard's spear-like weapon. It hummed in his hands, glowing blue, alive with strange energy. The attackers spread through the hall, firing at guards, aiming at the council. One of them shouted words in a rough voice. The soldier froze for 1 second. It was English. "Take the girl. Take the princess," the man shouted. The soldier's stomach twisted. This wasn't a simple attack. This was a hunt. He moved fast. Spinning the alien weapon, he struck the nearest attacker hard across the helmet. Sparks flew. The man fell with a cry. Another turned toward him, gun raised. The soldier slammed the spear forward. A flash of blue energy hit the man's chest, sending him flying across the floor. The alien guards fought fiercely beside him, blades and spears clashing with the attackers' rifles. The council chamber turned into chaos, shouts, blasts, the crash of metal against metal. The soldier fought like a man possessed. Every time the attackers moved toward the princess, he was there, blocking, striking, driving them back. One man, a leader by his stance, shouted again in English, "Fall back! Fall back!" The attackers retreated fast, leaving smoke and bodies behind. Then silence. The soldier stood breathing hard, the alien weapons still glowing in his hands. The floor was covered with sparks and smoke. Guards checked the counselors, making sure they were safe. The princess peeked out from behind the soldiers, her silver eyes wide. The soldier dropped the weapon slowly. His mind was racing. Those men, they were human. He had no doubt. But Earth's peace team was small. Only a few soldiers had come here. He knew all of them. None would do this. So who were these men? Mercenaries? Spies? The counselors began speaking quickly in their own language, voices sharp, angry. The princess translated, her words shaking. "They think Earth sent killers. They say, maybe you helped them." The soldier turned toward her sharply. "That's a lie. Tell them I fought to protect her. They saw it." She nodded, speaking fast to the council. One of the counselors rose from his throne, robes glowing like firelight. He held up a broken piece of one attacker's weapon. Strange symbols ran across the metal. Not alien symbols. Human letters. The counselor spoke, voice deep and angry. The princess translated softly. "They say, war coming. They say, humans break peace." The soldier's fists clenched. "No. Someone wants you to believe that. Someone wants a war between us." The council didn't look convinced. The tallest counselor spoke again, slowly this time. His golden eyes locked on the soldier like knives. The princess hesitated before translating. "They will find truth. But until then, you stay prisoner." "Prisoner?" The soldier took a step forward. "I saved her life," he shouted. "Twice. And you think I'm with them?" Guards closed in around him. Their weapons hummed with warning. The princess bit her lip. "Please, don't fight," she whispered. "They scared. They lost many." The soldier forced himself to stop. His training told him one thing: if he resisted, they'd kill him. So he let them take his weapon. He let them lead him away while the council argued behind him. But deep inside, his anger burned hot. Someone was framing Earth. Someone wanted this alliance destroyed before it even began. As the guards marched him down the long, glowing hallway, the princess ran beside him. "I believe you," she whispered quickly, looking up at him. "I know you not with them." He glanced at her. "Then help me prove it," he said in a low voice. "Help me find who really did this." She nodded once, her face set with determination. But before they could say more, the hallway shook with another distant blast. More attackers? Or something worse? The guards pushed them forward, shouting to each other. The soldier looked back toward the council chamber, smoke curling out of its doorway. He didn't know yet that the truth was bigger than one attack, bigger than one planet. And it was about to explode in his face. The cell was small, made of smooth silver walls that glowed faintly in the dark. The soldier sat on the floor, his back against the cold surface, his jaw tight with frustration. He had saved the princess twice, yet here he was, a prisoner. Guards stood outside the transparent door, their tall bodies rigid, their glowing spears ready. The alien council wanted answers. They wanted proof he was not with the attackers. But he had no answers. All he had was the memory of those weapons, the human markings burned into the metal. Someone was framing Earth. Someone powerful. The princess came to see him hours later. Her face was pale, but her silver eyes were full of fire. "They argue," she whispered through the barrier. "Some counselors want war with Earth. Others wait for proof." The soldier leaned closer. "We don't have much time," he said. "If they believe Earth sent those men, there will be no peace. Help me find the truth." She hesitated. "It is dangerous," she said softly. "More dangerous if we do nothing," he replied. Before she could answer, a sound cut through the hall, a sharp metallic echo. The guards outside turned suddenly, weapons raised. Shadows moved at the end of the corridor. The soldier felt his blood run cold. He knew that movement. He had seen it in the council chamber. The assassins had returned. "Get back!" the soldier shouted, but it was too late. Blades of red energy slashed through the air. The first guard fell before he could even cry out. The second fired his spear weapon, but a blast hit his chest and threw him against the wall. The princess screamed as the door to his cell slid open automatically. Maybe a mistake, maybe a trick. The soldier grabbed the fallen guard's spear just as an assassin rushed in. It was chaos. The narrow hallway filled with smoke and the hiss of energy weapons. The assassins moved like ghosts, fast and silent, cutting down every guard in their way. But this time the soldier was ready. He slammed the spear forward, the blue energy bursting through the assassin's chest plate. The man fell hard, his mask cracking open to reveal a human face beneath. The soldier froze for half a second. A human face. Not alien. Human. The proof he needed, but no time to think about it. Another assassin swung a blade toward him. He blocked it, sparks flying as blue met red. The hallway shook as blasts hit the walls around them. The princess pressed against the corner, eyes wide with terror. "Stay down!" the soldier shouted, driving his spear into another attacker's leg. The man collapsed with a cry. One assassin, taller than the rest, pushed through the smoke. His mask was marked with strange symbols. He carried a weapon that glowed brighter than all the others. Leader. The soldier knew it instantly. The leader raised his weapon toward the princess. Time seemed to slow. The soldier threw himself between them just as the weapon fired. A blast of red energy slammed into his shoulder, sending fire through his nerves. He gritted his teeth, refusing to fall. With his good arm, he hurled the spear like a javelin. It struck the leader in the chest. Blue light exploded as the assassin fell backward, his weapon clattering to the floor. The rest of the attackers hesitated for the first time. Then, as quickly as they came, they retreated, grabbing their fallen leader's body and disappearing into the smoke-filled hall. Silence returned, broken only by the crackle of fires along the walls. The soldier leaned against the doorway, his shoulder bleeding, breathing hard. The princess rushed to him. "You hurt," she said softly. He shook his head. "I've been worse," he muttered. But his eyes were on the fallen assassin's weapon still lying on the floor. Human markings, clear as day. He picked it up slowly. His hands shook, not from pain but from what it meant. Proof. Proof that someone on Earth wanted the princess dead. Proof that someone wanted a war. The princess stared at the weapon, then at him. "Now council will believe?" she whispered. He looked at the smoke drifting through the hall where the assassins had escaped. "They'll believe," he said grimly. "But first we find out who sent them." Far away, alarms began to ring through the palace. More assassins? Or something worse? The soldier tightened his grip on the weapon. He didn't know yet that the truth waiting for him would shake both Earth and the alien world to their core. And time was running out. The palace felt like a storm waiting to break. Sirens wailed through the halls, flashing lights painting the silver walls red and white. Guards shouted orders, their voices echoing like thunder. The soldier walked quickly beside the princess, the stolen assassin weapon still in his hand. His shoulder burned where the blast had hit him, but he didn't stop. He had proof now, proof the attackers were human. But why? Why would humans try to kill the alien princess and destroy the peace between worlds? They reached the council chamber again. The giant doors opened with a heavy hiss. Inside, the counselors were already shouting. Some demanded war. Others called for calm. Their glowing eyes turned as the soldier stepped into the room, holding the assassin's weapon high. The princess spoke first, her voice loud and clear. He saved me. Again. These men, she pointed at the weapon. Not aliens. Humans. The counselors leaned forward. Murmurs filled the chamber. One counselor with golden eyes rose slowly from his floating throne. He spoke in the alien language, his voice sharp. The princess translated quickly. He says this proves Earth betrayed us. The soldier shook his head. No, he said firmly. It proves someone wants you to think Earth betrayed you. There's a difference. She repeated his words to the council. The chamber erupted again. Some counselors nodded. Others shouted angrily. Finally, the oldest counselor, his robes glowing faint blue, raised one thin hand. Silence fell at once. He spoke slowly, his words heavy. The princess translated softly. He says, if not Earth, then who? The soldier dropped the weapon on the floor so all could see the human markings burned into its metal. There are groups on Earth, he said, voice steady. Groups who hate aliens, who fear peace. They want war because war gives them power, money, control. The princess spoke his words. The counselors listened, their glowing eyes unblinking. The soldier pointed at the weapon. These men, they want you to attack Earth. They want you to believe Earth attacked you first. Then both sides fight, and they win while we die. The council chamber went silent. Even the princess looked shaken by his words. Then one counselor spoke slowly, almost like a growl. The princess hesitated before translating. He says, if this is true, then the assassins will try again, to finish what they started. As if the words summoned fate, the lights above flickered. The floor shook. An explosion boomed somewhere deep in the palace. Guards shouted. The counselors rose from their thrones, voices sharp with alarm. The soldier's jaw tightened. He could feel it, this wasn't over. One guard ran in, armor scorched. He shouted fast, pointing toward the sky outside. The princess listened, then turned pale. A fleet, she whispered. Warships, coming here. The soldier felt his stomach sink. Whose ships? She shook her head. Not ours. Not yours. Unknown. The counselors shouted at each other, panic growing. The oldest counselor raised his hand again, forcing silence. He spoke firmly, voice like steel. The princess translated. He says, we must know the truth before war begins. He orders one ship to find where assassins come from. And you? She turned to the soldier. You will go with them. The soldier nodded slowly. It was the only way. Find the base. Find proof. Stop the war before it burned both worlds. But inside, he knew this mission would be suicide. Whoever was behind this wouldn't let him live if he got close. As the guards led him toward the landing bays, the princess ran beside him. I go too, she said quickly. He looked at her in surprise. It's too dangerous. She shook her head fiercely. They want me dead. I want to know why. The soldier saw the fire in her silver eyes and didn't argue. They reached the landing platform. A sleek alien ship waited, its surface shining like black glass. Soldiers rushed around it, loading weapons, shouting orders. The sky above was dark with smoke. Far on the horizon, lights moved among the clouds, warships closing in. The soldier gripped the assassin's weapon tightly. Somewhere out there was the truth. Somewhere out there was the hand pulling the strings, the shadow that wanted Earth and the alien world to burn. He didn't know yet how close that shadow was, or how far it would go to silence him. The ship's engines roared to life. They were running out of time. The alien ship cut through the dark sky like a silver arrow. Inside, the soldier stood near the window, watching the horizon where unknown warships glowed faintly among the clouds. His jaw was tight, his grip on the stolen assassin weapon firm. Beside him, the princess sat silently, her silver eyes fixed on the stars beyond. She was calm on the outside, but he could see the tension in her face. She had nearly died twice. Her world was on the edge of war, and now they were flying straight into danger to find the truth. Alien soldiers moved quietly around the cabin, checking weapons and controls. The air hummed with the low sound of engines. The princess finally spoke, her voice soft but steady. "If we fail, war begins." The soldier nodded grimly. "Then we can't fail." The ship's pilot called out in the alien language. The princess translated quickly. "Enemy base ahead." The soldier leaned forward. Through the window he saw it. A massive structure built into the side of a black mountain. Lights glowed along its edges. Ships docked at platforms carved into the rock. And flying above it, human ships. His stomach sank. The assassins were here, and whoever commanded them was waiting. The alien pilot swung the ship low. The base defenses lit up instantly, red weapons turning toward them. "Hold on!" the pilot shouted. Blasts of red energy shot through the air. The alien ship rolled sharply, dodging fire. The soldier grabbed a rail to keep from falling. "Can we land?" he shouted. The princess translated. The pilot yelled back, "We land, or die in sky." The ship dropped fast toward a landing platform. Guards in dark armor ran out, weapons glowing red. The soldier didn't wait for the ship to stop moving. The moment the doors opened, he jumped out, alien weapon ready. The fight exploded instantly. Alien soldiers clashed with the assassins in brutal close combat. Blue energy from alien spears met the red glow of human weapons. Sparks flew. Smoke filled the air. The soldier fought like a man with nothing to lose. Every swing of his weapon was precise, every move fueled by anger and determination. One assassin charged at him, blade flashing. The soldier blocked, twisted, slammed the man down hard. Another attacker raised a rifle toward the princess. The soldier didn't think. He threw his spear. It hit the man square in the chest, blue energy blasting him backward. But more kept coming. The princess stayed close, ducking behind cover, her eyes fierce despite the chaos. "Inside!" the soldier shouted. "Find their leader." They pushed through the fight toward the base entrance. Inside the mountain, the halls were dark and cold. Strange machines hummed along the walls. Symbols in English were painted across crates and doors. This was it. Proof the assassins were human. Proof someone on Earth wanted war. At the end of the main hall, they found him. The assassin leader. He stood tall, armor black as night, helmet marked with red symbols. His weapon glowed like fire in his hands. "You should have stayed out of this, soldier," the man said in perfect English. His voice was low, calm, deadly. The soldier stepped forward slowly. "You framed Earth. You killed for war." The leader laughed coldly. "War is profit. War is power. Peace makes men weak." The princess's eyes burned with anger. "You kill my people. You kill for lies." The leader raised his weapon. "The galaxy will thank me when Earth and your empire destroy each other." But before he could fire, the soldier moved. He charged, slamming into the man with all his strength. The weapon fired wide, burning into the wall. They crashed hard to the floor, fighting hand to hand, fists and blades clashing in the dark hall. Finally, with a roar, the soldier drove the assassin's own weapon through his chest. The leader froze, eyes wide, then fell silent forever. The remaining assassins saw their leader fall. Their fight ended quickly after that. Some fled. Others dropped weapons and surrendered. The soldier stood over the fallen leader, chest heaving. It was over. The princess stepped forward slowly. Her voice was steady now. "Council will see truth. No war." The soldier nodded. "They'll know who the real enemy was." Back at the palace, the proof was shown. Weapons, armor, the base itself. It all pointed to war profiteers on Earth, not Earth's leaders or soldiers. The council cleared Earth of blame. The assassin's network was destroyed. Peace returned, for now. At the ceremony days later, the princess stood before the council, her voice ringing clear. "This human," she said, pointing to the soldier, "saved my life, saved our peace, twice. He is hero of two worlds." The counselors rose, their voices echoing in agreement. The soldier stood there silently, not used to praise. He had only done what was right. But as the princess placed a silver medal over his chest, he knew one thing. Peace had a chance again. Because sometimes one life saved can stop a war.